Hey there folks, Uncle Troy again. Today we are talking about the Samsung HMX-F80 camera.
Hello fans, how are you today in the wonderful internet land?
A few more questions that have been asked. I am no expert on this camera at all by any stretch of the imagination, but as it happened, I put up a couple test videos. People started asking me questions, I started answering, and that's why we end up with this Q&A series. Obviously, I'm not recording this with my camera because here it is. This is actually being recorded with the Logitech HD Webcam model C510. Audio has been being recorded with a free program called Audacity over this Logitech G330 gaming headset, because this is how the best audio comes about. Okay, so the questions today about this camera. Number one, what kind of remote control is available or comes with this camera, wired or wireless? And I would love to be able to say, here's the remote control, do what you want to with the camera. But unfortunately, this camera comes with no remote control whatsoever, wired or wireless, which is actually kind of a shame because if you had this camera set up, say over here, taking pictures with it and you wanted to adjust, say closer, farther away, whatever, if you had some type of remote control, this is actually a remote control for my room fan over there. If you had a remote control, then you could zoom in, zoom out, apply some kind of special effect, all with the remote control, but you can't, so you have to, reach over, adjust. You can rotate this LCD screen 180 degrees. I like that. So you have to reach over, you have to figure out the controls, which interrupts the flow of recording the video and can jar the camera, move it to a new position. Even if you got it locked down on a tripod, you can still kind of mess it up. So a remote control would have been good, but it's not available on this camera. That leads me to the second question about what kind of tripod I use. And this is a Samsonite, Samsonite tripod. I have no idea what the model number is. I have no idea where you'd get one. I got this used from a guy at work who wasn't using it anymore with his regular camera. And the question is, what kind of mount does it have, the Samsung have? Well, it has one of these, whatever that is. And I assume that's some kind of standard mount because there is what the tripod is. And the other reason I assume it's standard is here is my old Concord IQ 4363Z camera, and at the bottom it's got that same type of mount, just a weird screw thing. So I'm assuming this is a standard mount for audio-visual equipment, video equipment technically. Now the question is, it's not fancy or anything. There's no hot plate. There's no electrical connection down there where you can cue in an external flash or something like that. This is a neat little tripod. It's got about a gazillion adjustments. You can raise this up. The little legs unsnap and fold out. And it just takes a few seconds to set it up, which I'm going to bore you by setting up right here in front of you. And voila. And actually this stretches out to about, let's bring it down here where we can actually see what we're doing here. This stretches out to about 5 feet tall. The guy that sold it to me said it was 6 feet tall. But as I was telling a young lady the other day, anytime a man promises you a tripod, he's lying. And the camera just kind of fits right up here on this, just like that. And then you screw it down right there. There we go. Click, 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 click. There. And it still wiggles around a little. No matter how tightly I adjust things, the camera still can wiggle a little. And no matter how careful I am when I make the adjustments, when you tighten her down, she moves a little. which is another thing, like I said, if you had a remote of some type. this would be good. A few other little things about this. Like I said, the screen rotates 180 degrees. Let's see what we can do here. And now you can see me recording this thing recording. Isn't that neat? Yeah, pretty nice. Okay, you can also see it has a built-in lens cap, so to speak. Cute. All right. Ding ding. Turn this off because I don't think I charged the battery last time I used it. For those asking how to get the how to download the pictures or images to the computer, I think I've answered this before. But basically, open this up. There's a little clicker right here. Pop. Out comes your memory card. And I just pop that into the computer. It's a MP4 H264 standard Apple QuickTime format, something like that. Nothing too out of the ordinary. Your computer should know how to view it. What else were they gonna talk about today? Oh, rolling shutter. Apparently this camera, or at least some people have noticed videos with this camera, sometimes some tearing, some horizontal problems, some smearing, tearing, whatever you want to call it. Similar to what you see when you are playing a video game and the frame rate and the frame rate of the video game and the refresh rate of your computer monitor aren't exactly the same, and you get some lines. And that's caused by something called a rolling shutter, I believe. And what that means is instead of trying to capture the entire screen at once, it's capturing it in sections. And if a section of the screen, as it's, if something changes while it's getting the sections, then some parts of the screen might be updated when other parts aren't. And so you get a little horizontal tear here and there, vertical tear, whatever you call it, this way, tear, whichever that is. And so I think that's the problem. Now, I've not seen that a whole lot myself. I'm sure if you were doing a fast action pan from one side to the other, that might be more likely. Oops, I forgot to close a little lens thing. If you're locking it down with a tripod, like I do a lot, then you wouldn't see that because, you're locked down. There's not a whole lot of changing in the picture. And, of course, you won't see any in this because I'm using the Logitech HD Webcam C510 and not my Samsung HMX-F80 camera. Okay, another thing people have written me about is that even though it's an HD camera, 1280 by 720, and they've got it set for HD, and the output file is 1280 by 720, it's still only standard quality, SD quality, not HD quality. And when you start talking about something qualitative like quality, it's kind of hard for me to really understand what you're talking about. Do you mean it's grainy? Do you mean it's blocky? Do you mean it looks like, what do you mean by that? Because I used to get into arguments with people all the time back in the old video game console days when, people would say, well, it's a 16-bit system, but it only has 8-bit graphics. Well, the spec sheet clearly says it's got 16-bit graphics. Yeah, but they only look 8-bit, so they're only 8-bit graphics. So if you're not getting real good pictures with the Samsung HD camera, it might be you. I'm just going to say that. I'm just going to say this specifically. If you're not getting as good of results as me, and I am obviously no expert at this, I suck at cameras, then if you're not getting as good a result as me, then you're doing something wrong. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold this up here so that I can fit this on my desk. And we're going to record a little bit. I've done this before. See if we can't record a little bit of me on this camera. Set you up. Power thing. And let's see, we'll bring this down a bit. There we are. And once again, this is about as good as I can get. Well, let's move just a little bit closer here. Yeah, there we go. This is about as close as I can get to the two things identically spaced, identically set up, both with auto settings. You can always adjust things and get much better. Now, of course, I'm confused because once again I've got one camera here, but the video monitor for it is here. One camera here, and the video monitor for it is over here. So I'm constantly looking back, and I'm making myself seasick. But I'm going to try to do a split screen or something to show you the difference in quality between the Logitech HD Webcam and the Samsung HMX-F80 webcam, or excuse me, handheld cam, under the same lighting conditions, because I think lighting conditions has something to do with the perceived quality of people getting in the Samsung HMX-F80 camera when they say it's, you know, I recorded in HD resolution but I only got a standard definition picture. This thing requires more light than the Logitech HD webcam does to get the same picture. And I keep adding more and more light in my little studio here, trying to get a good result. But still, the Samsung wants more light still. So I think if you take it outside, I have gotten my best results in what I would call filtered sunlight. That is where, and I have mail. I meant to turn that off before I started recording. When you get filtered sunlight, that's a shady day, or you're under the shade of a tree or something. The sun is not shining directly on you, but it's still a very bright day. That is when I get the best results out of my Samsung HMX-F80 camera. And I know it's HD because you can see all the little wrinkles and all the gray hairs and whatnot. So if you're not getting a good picture with your Samsung camera, you might try adjusting the lighting. More lighting, less lighting, better lighting, more diffuse lighting further away from you, that sort of thing. So that's my suggestion on that. Okay, that's all I can think of that I was planning to record today. So if you have any other questions or comments about the camera, questions about how to operate it, what I've done to get the results I've got, leave them in the comment section below, and I will respond to them in a future video. This is Uncle Troy signing out. Please have a good night.